William Carter looked out the small window of the ship called Resolute. The stars seemed different from this far away from Earth. At 62 years old, his hair had turned silver, but his eyes remained sharp and alert. He straightened his dark blue suit and checked his reflection in the glass. A lifetime of hiding his true nature had made him good at looking like just another old diplomat. "Ambassador Carter, we will dock at Xenoth Prime in 30 minutes, said the ship's captain over the speakers. William nodded to himself. After 30 years as Earth's top diplomat, he had hoped to retire to his small ranch in Montana. Instead, here he was, heading to meet aliens who had only discovered humans existed 2 years ago. "Sir, I've prepared your introduction speech for review," said Olivia Maxwell, his young assistant. She handed him a tablet with the speech on it. "Thank you, Olivia," William said with a kind smile that never quite reached his eyes. What the Galactic Council didn't know was that before William became a diplomat, he had been something else entirely. For 15 years, he had been Operative Reaper, the most deadly soldier in Earth's secret program that made humans into weapons. His bones were reinforced with metal. His reflexes were 3 times faster than normal. His eyes could see in the dark. His skin had small machines under it that could stop most poisons and heal wounds quickly. All these upgrades were hidden beneath his aging appearance and calm manner. When humans first met aliens, the world governments decided they needed someone who understood both peace and war to represent Earth. They called William out of his semi-retirement from diplomacy. "Remember, sir," Olivia said, interrupting his thoughts, "the Council has 27 different alien species. Some of them have been in space for thousands of years. They might look down on us for being new." William nodded. "The newest kid in school always has the most to prove." The ship slowed as it approached the massive space station that served as the Galactic Council headquarters. The station looked like a giant wheel with spokes connecting to a center hub. Hundreds of ships from different worlds moved around it like busy insects. As the Resolute docked, William felt the small bump as the ships connected. He took a deep breath. 30 years of diplomatic training told him to be polite and humble. 15 years of combat training told him to be ready for anything. "Suit check," he whispered to himself, a habit from his Reaper days. He moved his fingers in a certain pattern, activating the hidden scanner in his hand. The small machines in his skin showed him his vital signs and ran a quick scan of his weapons. 2 small knives were hidden in special pockets in his suit. A thin wire that could cut through metal was hidden in his belt. His tie pin could fire a single dart with a drug that would put someone to sleep. Old habits died hard. "Ambassador, they're ready for us," Olivia said, straightening her own suit. William nodded and led the small group of humans to the airlock. Besides him and Olivia, there was Samuel Wilson, officially the cultural expert but really a communications specialist, and Patricia Reeves, their security officer who looked too small and friendly to be dangerous. Like William, both Samuel and Patricia had special training, though not as extensive as his. The airlock hissed open, revealing their greeting party. William managed not to show his surprise at the aliens waiting for them. The one in front looked almost human, except her skin was light blue and her eyes were completely black. She wore flowing robes with symbols William didn't recognize. "Ambassador Carter," she said in perfect English, her voice musical. "I am Shinlara of the Tarathi. I will be your guide during your stay with the Galactic Council." William gave a small bow. "Thank you for your welcome, Liaison Shinlara. Earth is honored to begin this relationship with the Council." Behind Shinlara stood 4 guards who looked like walking lizards. They stood on 2 legs and had arms that ended in clawed hands. Their scales were dark green, and they wore simple black uniforms with silver symbols on their chests. William's hidden scanner detected energy weapons on each guard. According to the briefing he had received, guards at diplomatic meetings were supposed to carry only ceremonial weapons. These were fully functional. Interesting, William thought, keeping his diplomatic smile in place. "Your quarters have been prepared with your species' needs in mind," Shinlara said. "Tomorrow you will present your credentials to the full council. Tonight you may rest from your journey." As they walked through the station, William noticed how different aliens moved aside to stare at the humans. Some looked curious, others seemed afraid, and a few showed what William recognized as dislike. "Your station is impressive," William said to Shinlara as they walked. "How many people live here?" "The station houses approximately 50,000 representatives, staff, and support personnel from all council worlds," she answered. "Your species is the first new member candidate in nearly 100 years. William nodded, noting the choice of words. Candidate, not member. Earth would have to prove itself worthy. They passed a group of aliens that looked like tall insects. They clicked their mouthparts rapidly when they saw the humans. "The Vrex," Shinlara explained. "They find mammals unusual." One of the Vrex approached and spoke in a series of clicks and whistles. William's translator device in his ear converted it to English. "So these are the humans?" "Smaller than expected. Less fur, too." William smiled. "We keep most of our fur in specific places," he said pleasantly. The Vrex seemed surprised that William had understood and quickly moved away with its group. When they reached their quarters, William was pleased to see they were comfortable and clean. The room had Earth-normal gravity and temperature. There were separate bedrooms for each human, a common meeting area, and a food preparation space. "The system will provide Earth foods," Shinlara explained, pointing to a machine that looked like a large metal box. "Your credentials presentation is scheduled for 1000 station time. I will return to escort you." After she left, Patricia immediately began checking the rooms for listening devices. 3 in each bedroom, 2 in the common area, she reported after a few minutes. "Leave them," William said. "But use the jammers when we need to talk privately." That night, as the others slept, William stood by the window looking out at the stars. His scanner detected movement in the corridor outside their quarters, security patrols moving at regular intervals. His old instincts told him something wasn't right. The weapons on the guards, the listening devices, the way some of the aliens looked at them. "They're afraid of us," he whispered to himself. Why? Would advanced aliens fear humans? The next day would bring answers, but William Carter, once called Reaper, prepared himself for trouble. He had come seeking peace, but he had never forgotten war. William adjusted his tie as he prepared to address the Galactic Council. The large circular chamber reminded him of the United Nations back on Earth, but much bigger. 27 different alien species sat in rising rows, their representatives, watching the small human group with various expressions. "Ready, sir?" Olivia whispered beside him. William nodded. His scanner had already noted 14 different weapon signatures in the room, despite this being a formal diplomatic meeting. He kept his face calm and friendly as Shinlara led him to the speaking platform. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," William began, his voice strong and clear. "I bring greetings from Earth and all humanity. We are honored to stand among the stars as your newest neighbors." As he spoke about human history and achievements, carefully edited to seem less threatening, William noticed one alien in particular, watching him with obvious dislike. The creature looked like a cross between a crocodile and a human, with green scales and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. The nameplate identified it as Kermok, representative of the Draxid Imperium. "Humans have explored our own solar system for over a century," William continued. "Now we look forward to peaceful trade and cultural exchange with all council members." "A question, human," Kermok interrupted, his voice deep and rough. "Your kind went from primitive combustion engines to faster-than-light travel in less than 200 years. This rate of advancement is concerning." William smiled. "Necessity is a powerful motivator, Representative Kermok. Earth faced environmental challenges that required rapid innovation." "And what of your wars?" Kermok pressed. "Our research shows humans have spent more time fighting each other than at peace." The chamber grew quiet. William maintained his diplomatic smile, though he noticed several representatives leaning forward with interest. "We do not hide our past," William answered carefully. "Humans are capable of great violence but also great compassion. We have learned from our mistakes and grown beyond them." "Have you?" Kermok's tone was doubtful. "Your species' history is written in blood." William kept his voice level. "We've evolved beyond our violent past, Ambassador, though we remember the lessons it taught us." The rest of the presentation went more smoothly, though William noted how the other representatives watched him after Cormac's questions. Some seemed curious, others afraid. Later, as William and his team returned to their quarters, he felt the tension in his neck that usually meant trouble. His enhanced senses detected a slight change in the air circulation pattern of the corridor. "Samuel, take Olivia to the quarters and activate Security Protocol 3, William said casually. Samuel, understanding immediately, nodded and guided Olivia ahead, while Patricia fell into step beside William. "6 of them," Patricia whispered. "Following since Section 3. William nodded slightly. "Not very subtle, are they?" They turned a corner into a less traveled corridor. William checked his watch, a normal gesture that activated his combat systems. The small machines in his blood began to pump performance enhancers into his muscles. The first attackers struck as they passed a maintenance junction. A tall, thin alien with 4 arms lunged from hiding, aiming a blade at William's back. Before the blade could connect, William had already moved. Decades of diplomatic work vanished as Operative Reaper emerged. William grabbed the attacker's wrist and twisted, using the alien's momentum to throw it into the wall. Patricia had already drawn her concealed weapon and was firing at 2 more attackers coming from ahead. The 4th attacker, a bulky reptilian similar to the Draxid, charged William with a shock baton. William's enhanced reflexes allowed him to dodge the first swing. The second caught him on the shoulder, but his reinforced skeleton distributed the shock harmlessly. "Bad move," William said, his voice now cold and flat. His fist connected with the reptilian's throat, crushing it. He moved to the next attacker without pause. His body flowing through combat patterns burned into his muscle memory. Patricia had disabled 2 attackers and was struggling with a third when William reached her. He lifted the attacker by its neck and slammed it into the floor. The 6th attacker tried to flee, but William caught it with the thin wire from his belt, pulling it tight around the alien's leg. As the creature fell, William was already on it, his knee pressing against its chest. "Who sent you?" William demanded. The alien, a pale creature with large black eyes, gasped for breath. "You were not supposed to be dangerous," it wheezed. "Just an old diplomat." "Answer the question," William pressed harder. "The Council fears what humans will become," the alien said, dark blood leaking from its mouth. "Earth must be contained, before it is too late. You are too dangerous, too unpredictable. The Draxid and others have seen what happens when a species like yours is allowed to expand unchecked." The alien shuddered and went still. William checked for life signs and found none. "Status?" he asked Patricia, who was binding a wound on her arm. "2 dead, 3 unconscious, 1 escaped before I could stop it," she reported. "I'm fine, just a scratch." William nodded and straightened his tie, which had somehow remained perfectly knotted during the fight. "Contact Samuel. Tell him to secure Olivia and prepare for emergency departure." When they reached their quarters, they found Samuel had already secured the room. Olivia looked pale but composed. "Sir, what happened?" she asked. "It seems some council members don't appreciate humanity joining their club," William said, his voice returning to its normal diplomatic tone. "They made their position clear." He went to the secure communication device hidden in his personal items. "I need to contact Earth Command. The situation has changed." As he set up the device, William considered what the dying attacker had said. The Council feared humans because they saw something of themselves in humanity: ambition, adaptability, and the potential for violence. "Olivia, I need you to implement Protocol Thermopylae," William said after finishing his secure communication. "Sir, that's the contingency for hostile first contact," Olivia said, her eyes widening. "I know what it's for. They've made their choice. Now we make ours." William looked out the window at the massive station. He had come as a diplomat hoping for peace, but the old soldier in him had always known it might come to this. "They think humans are dangerous," he said quietly. "They have no idea how right they are." The next morning, the news of the attack spread through the station. The official report called it a security incident involving unauthorized personnel. William read the report on his tablet and smiled slightly. The council was trying to hide. What happened? They're afraid of looking weak, William told his team as they gathered in their quarters. The jammers were on, blocking any listening devices. Or they're afraid of admitting some of their members tried to kill us. What's our next move, sir? Samuel asked. His hands moved quickly over his communication equipment, setting up secure channels back to Earth. We play their game, William said. Publicly, we accept their explanation. Privately, we prepare. William asked Patricia to check their weapons and Olivia to monitor council communications. Protocol Thermopylae was now active, which meant Earth's hidden fleet was moving into position near key council worlds. Not to attack, but to be ready if needed. As William prepared to leave for a scheduled meeting, there was a soft knock at their door. Patricia checked the security feed and looked surprised. It's a lithid, she said. William nodded. The lithid were one of the oldest species in the council. They looked like walking crystals that glowed with inner light. They were known to be fair and honest, rarely involving themselves in council politics. When Patricia opened the door, the lithid representative entered with a soft humming sound. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, its crystal body shimmering with purple and blue lights. Ambassador Carter. The translator device on its chest vibrated. I am Shoran, of the Lithid Collective. We must speak privately. After checking for weapons and finding none, William agreed. They sat in the common area, the jammers still active. I know of the attack on you, Shoran said. Not all council members approved this action. Who did? William asked directly. A faction led by the Draxid and the Vex conglomerate. Shoran's lights pulsed faster. They have studied your wars and your rapid development. They believe if humanity isn't checked now, you'll dominate the galaxy within centuries. William Ice leaned forward. We came in peace. Yes, Shoran agreed. But they see your potential, not your intentions. Humans adapt quickly. You solve problems in ways other species would never consider. This frightens them. What do you suggest? William asked. Be careful. Shoran's lights dimmed slightly. The Draxid will not stop with one failed attempt. They fear what they do not understand. After Shoran left, William called his team together. We need to activate the secondary protocols. Samuel, use your diplomatic visits to map the station. Patricia, I want security rotation schedules. Olivia, find me everything about the Draxid and Vex relationships with other council members. Over the next few days, William attended council meetings as if nothing had happened. He smiled, spoke of peace, and acted exactly like a normal diplomat. But underneath, he and his team were preparing. Samuel's equipment, disguised as cultural survey tools, mapped the station's layout. Patricia's security training allowed her to identify patterns in the guard rotations. Olivia's research revealed a web of alliances and rivalries among council members. William sent encrypted updates to Earth Command. The human fleet, hidden behind the moon before first contact, was now moving quietly through council space, using technology that made them nearly invisible to standard scanners. 1 week after the first attack, William was walking in the station's garden area. The space was filled with plants from different worlds, creating a peaceful place for quiet meetings. William had chosen this location carefully, knowing what was coming. As he predicted, a new team of assassins came for him. This time there were 8, all wearing active camouflage suits that made them hard to see among the plants. They surrounded William, who stood calmly in the center of a small clearing. I was wondering when you'd try again, William said conversationally. 8 this time. I'm flattered. The assassins attacked all at once, but William was ready. His combat systems were already active, his body primed for fight. He moved like water between the attackers, never where they expected him to be. The first assassin swung a vibro blade at William's neck. William ducked under it and drove his fist into the attacker's chest, cracking its exoskeleton. 2 more came at him from behind. William flipped backward over them, his enhanced muscles making the move seem easy. As he fought, William was aware of the security cameras watching. He no longer cared about hiding his abilities. In fact, he wanted them to see. 4 of the assassins lay on the ground when William finally drew his hidden knives. The special blades cut through the remaining attacker's armor like it was paper. His movements were precise and efficient with no wasted energy. The last assassin, bleeding from several wounds, looked at William with 4 eyes wide in shock. "What are you?" it asked in a rasping voice. William straightened his tie, which was somehow still perfect despite the intense fight. His voice was cold when he answered, "I'm what humanity sends when it wants peace, but prepares for war." The security footage spread quickly through the station. William knew it would. He wanted the council to see exactly what they were dealing with. Not just an old diplomat, but a weapon in human form. Back in their quarters, Olivia looked worried, as she showed William the reactions from various council members. "Sir, the Draxid are calling for your immediate removal. They're saying this proves humans are too dangerous." William nodded. "And the others?" "Mixed," Olivia reported. "Some are afraid, but others are angry about the assassination attempts. The Lithid have formally protested the attacks on a diplomatic envoy." "Good," William said. "Now we move to Phase 2. William prepared a formal request for an emergency council session. He would use an ancient council rule that many members had forgotten existed. The rule stated that any diplomat who survived 2 assassination attempts could demand a full hearing with all evidence presented. "We're going to show them everything," William told his team. "The assassination attempts, the conspiracy, all of it. Some will still want us gone, but others will see that we could have responded with war but chose diplomacy instead." As William prepared his presentation, a message came through from Earth Command. The Draxid had moved a battle fleet to the edge of Earth's solar system. "They're not giving up easily," Patricia said, looking at the report. William's face hardened. "Neither, are we?" The council chamber was in chaos. Representatives shouted over each other as the footage of William fighting in the garden played on large screens. The video showed him moving faster than seemed possible for a human, defeating 8 trained assassins with terrifying skill. "This human is a weapon, not a diplomat," Kermok of the Draxid shouted, his scales darkening with anger. "This proves Earth sent a killer among us." William stood calmly at the speaker's platform, waiting for the noise to die down. Beside him, Olivia looked nervous but determined. Samuel and Patricia stood near the exits, watching for threats. "Order," called the council leader, a tall, blue-skinned alien called Trillax. "We will have order in these proceedings." When the room finally quieted, William spoke. His voice was steady and clear. "Distinguished representatives," he began. "Earth came, in peace. But certain members chose violence against diplomatic personnel, a grave violation of the very principles this council claims to uphold." He touched a small device on his wrist, and new images appeared on the screens. They showed the first assassination team attacking William and Patricia in the corridor. "This was the first attempt on my life, which your security forces called a minor incident. There was nothing minor about it." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some representatives looked shocked, others uncomfortable. "Ambassador Carter," Trillax said, "while these attacks are concerning, your response was extreme. No normal diplomat could fight like that." William nodded. "I am not just a diplomat. Before I served Earth in peace, I served in war. My world believed in sending someone who could protect himself if diplomacy failed." "You deceived us," Kermok snarled. "Did we?" William raised an eyebrow. "We sent official credentials listing my full service record. Did you not read them, or did you choose to ignore them?" William touched his device again. Now the screen showed official documents that had been sent to the council before his arrival. They clearly showed his military background. "But that's not the real deception here," William continued. "The real lie is that some of you never intended to welcome Earth into the galactic community. You decided we were a threat before we ever arrived." He turned to face Kermok directly. "The Draxid fleet currently approaching Earth's solar system makes that very clear." The chamber erupted again. Many representatives seemed genuinely surprised by this news. The Lithid representative, Shoran, rose to speak. "Is this true?" Shoran asked, crystal body flashing with angry colors. Has the Draxid Imperium launched a military action without council approval? Kurmak stood taller, his reptilian face showing no shame. We act to protect the council from a dangerous species. Humans advance too quickly. They solve problems in ways that should take centuries to discover. If not contained now, they will dominate us all within generations. Show them, William said quietly to Olivia. She pressed a button on her tablet. The screens changed again, now showing a star map of council space. Small dots of light appeared throughout the map, moving into position around key worlds. What is this? Asked a representative. From the insect-like Vrex. Earth's fleet, William answered. Hidden with technology your sensors cannot detect. A fleet that has been in place for weeks. Shocked silence filled the room. The dots outnumbered known Earth ships by a factor of 10. You see, William continued, voice still calm, we could have responded with war at the first attack. Our ships could have struck at any time. Instead, I stand before you seeking justice through your own laws. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various representatives. Humanity wants peace, but we aren't helpless, and we aren't naive. The council broke into smaller groups, representatives talking urgently among themselves. William waited patiently, knowing this was the turning point. Earth could not win a prolonged war against the entire council, but they could make such a war too costly to consider. A small alert flashed on William's wrist device. He glanced down and frowned. The Draxid fleet had increased speed toward Earth, despite the ongoing council session. William caught Samuel's eye and nodded slightly. Samuel touched his ear, activating a hidden communicator to send orders to the human fleet. Trillax called for order again. We must address this situation immediately. A vote will be taken on the following. First, should the attacks on Ambassador Carter be formally investigated? Second, should the Draxid fleet be ordered to withdraw from Earth space? Before the vote could begin, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The screens changed to show a massive Draxid warship approaching the station. What is the meaning of this? Trillax demanded, looking at Kurmak. The Draxid representative hissed, showing sharp teeth. If the council will not act to contain the human threat, the Draxid Imperium will. This is madness, Shoren said, lights pulsing rapidly. You risk war with the entire council. Kurmak laughed, a harsh sound like breaking stones. Many of you secretly agree with us. Humans are too dangerous to be allowed to spread throughout the galaxy. More alarms sounded. The screens showed the station's defense systems activating. Emergency containment doors began closing throughout the structure. The station is going into lockdown, Olivia whispered to William. Security protocol for an imminent attack. William nodded. This was moving faster than he had expected, but not faster than he had planned for. He caught Patricia's eye and tapped his wrist twice. She immediately moved closer to Olivia, ready to protect her. Representatives of the Galactic Council, William said, his voice cutting through the chaos. Earth did not want this conflict. We came offering friendship and cooperation, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. He looked directly at Kurmak, and we will remember who our friends are, and who chose to be our enemies. The screen suddenly showed new ships appearing near Earth, vessels from Council species who opposed the Draxid plan. The Lithid, the Tarathi, and several others had positioned their fleets to intercept the Draxid forces. The chamber fell silent as everyone watched the developing situation. The Draxid warship near the station had stopped moving, weapons systems hot but not firing. It seems, William said quietly, that your conspiracy isn't as widespread as you believed, Representative Kurmak. As William spoke, a message flashed on his device. Earth Command reported that the hidden human fleet had revealed itself, surrounding the Draxid ships near Earth. The message ended with two words that made William smile slightly. Checkmate achieved. The emergency lockdown sealed the council chamber, trapping all representatives inside. The main doors locked with heavy metal barriers, and security screens covered the windows. The large screens still showed the standoff between the fleets, near Earth and the Draxid warship hovering near the station. "This is an outrage," shouted a representative from the jellyfish-like Aquati. "The Draxid have endangered us all." Kermok stood tall, unashamed. "We do what is necessary. Humans must be contained before they spread throughout the galaxy." William watched as the council split into arguing groups. Some supported the Draxid position. Others were furious about being dragged into a potential war. A few looked at the humans with new respect. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The main screen went blank, then came back showing a Draxid military commander. "This station is now under Draxid protection," the commander announced. "All representatives will remain in place until our security forces can ensure proper order." Trillax stepped forward, blue skin darkening with anger. "This is a violation of council law. You have no authority to take control of this station." The Draxid commander ignored him and continued. "The human representatives will surrender immediately. They are a danger to all species." The screen went blank again. The chamber erupted in shouts and arguments. William caught Samuel's eye and made a small hand signal. Samuel nodded and moved closer to Olivia, while Patricia positioned herself near the main door. "Sir," Olivia whispered, "our secure channel to Earth is still active. The fleet reports that the Draxid forces are surrounded but haven't backed down. They're waiting for orders." William nodded. "Tell them to hold position. No first strikes." Trillax tried to restore order but was drowned out by angry voices. In the confusion, William noticed Kermok and several other representatives slip through a small side door that hadn't been sealed by the lockdown. William touched Patricia's arm and pointed. She understood immediately and moved to follow them, but William shook his head. He would go alone. "Stay with the others," he told her quietly. "If I'm not back in 30 minutes, implement Protocol Omega." Patricia's eyes widened, but she nodded. Protocol Omega was their final contingency plan, a full military response. William slipped out the same door Kermok had used. It led to a narrow service corridor used by station staff. His scanner showed 6 life forms moving ahead, one matching Kermok's signature. Moving silently, William followed them. His combat systems were fully active now, pumping chemicals into his blood that enhanced his strength and speed. He could feel the old familiar coldness settling over him, the mindset of Operative Reaper replacing the Diplomat. The corridor led to a secure area marked as Council Command Center. William watched as Kermok and 5 others entered using override codes. He waited 30 seconds, then approached the door. It was locked, but his scanner found the security panel. Using a small device from his pocket, he bypassed the lock. Inside, he found a large room filled with control stations. The Draxid and their allies were working quickly at different consoles. "The defense systems are now under our control," reported one of them, a tall Vex with metallic skin. "We can begin purging the station of human influence." "Excellent," Kermok said. "Begin with Ambassador Carter's team. Then we'll deal with those council members who support the humans." "That sounds like treason against the council," William said, stepping into the light. The conspirators spun around, shocked to see him. Kermok recovered first, baring his teeth in a snarl. "How fitting that you found us," he said. "Now I can eliminate Earth's representative personally." He drew a ceremonial blade from his belt, an ornate knife with a curved edge that glinted in the light. "Your species is too dangerous to exist freely in the galaxy," Kermok continued. "You solve problems too quickly. You adapt too easily. Within a century, humans would dominate us all." William remained calm. "Or we could work together using our different strengths to create something better than any of us could alone." "A pretty speech from a diplomat," Kermok hissed. "But I see the warrior beneath your words. Your kind always chooses violence in the end." The lights flickered suddenly, plunging the room into darkness for 3 seconds. When they came back on, William stood in a different position, now holding Kermok's ceremonial blade. The Draxid representative clutched his arm where green blood seeped between his fingers. "I was willing to die for peace," William said quietly. "Are you?" The other conspirators backed away, suddenly afraid. They had just seen how quickly the human could move, faster than their eyes could follow. "You can't kill us all. the Vex said, though his metallic voice trembled. Our forces control this station now. William smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Are you sure about that? He touched a small device on his wrist, and all the screens in the command center changed to show Earth ships surrounding the Draxid vessel outside the station. While you were busy with your coup, my team wasn't idle, William explained. Your control of this station lasted exactly 7 minutes. He touched the device again, and the screens showed Council security forces moving through the station, arresting Draxid personnel. And your fleet near Earth is now surrounded by not only our ships but vessels from 7 other Council species who didn't appreciate your attempt to start a war. Kermok stared at the screens in disbelief. Impossible. How could you have prepared for this? Because it's what I would have done in your place, William answered simply. Humanity has spent thousands of years fighting itself. We understand war better than anyone. That's why we work so hard for peace. Station security forces burst into the command center, led by Trillax and Patricia. The conspirators were quickly surrounded and disarmed. Ambassador Carter, Trillax said, looking at William with new respect. It seems we owe you our gratitude. William handed over Kermok's blade. I only did what was necessary to preserve peace. You could have killed them all, Trillax observed. Yet you didn't. That's not why I came here, William said. Earth wants allies, not enemies. 3 days later, a new Galactic Council session was called. The Draxid representatives were gone, their species facing sanctions for their unauthorized military action. The council chamber was subdued as Trillax called the meeting to order. Today, we vote on Earth's application for council membership, he announced. Ambassador Carter, do you wish to speak before the vote? William stood at the speaker's platform, once again the perfect diplomat in his immaculate suit. No one watching would guess this was the same man who had single-handedly defeated multiple assassins. Distinguished representatives, he began. Recent events have shown that differences can lead to fear and fear to conflict, but they have also shown that cooperation is possible, even between very different species. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of the representatives. Humanity comes in peace, he said simply, but we are prepared for war, if forced to it. We hope to never need those preparations again. The vote that followed was nearly unanimous. Earth would join the Galactic Council as its 28th member species. Later, as William prepared to return to Earth, Olivia asked him a question that had been on her mind. Sir, if the Draxid had pushed us into war, would we have won? William considered the question carefully before answering. War has no winners, Olivia, he said at last. Only survivors. He straightened his tie, a perfect Windsor nod as always. Humanity's strength isn't our weapons or our ships, he continued. It's that we understand the cost of war better than anyone. That's why we make the best diplomats. He smiled, and for once the smile reached his eyes, even when those diplomats used to be weapons themselves.